expect, unless there's some surprise that none of us know anything about right now, that Joe Biden will be the next president.
Strong words from U.S. Senator John Cornyn out of Texas. The Republican says former President Donald Trump can't win the 2024 general election for president. He also says the GOP needs to find a candidate who actually can. This was all in a call with Texas reporters. Cornyn saying, I think President Trump's time has passed him by. And he adds, I don't think President Trump understands that when you run in a general election, you got to appeal to voters beyond your base.
Mr. President, I rise today to mark an important milestone for our friend, Senator Mitch McConnell. Senator McConnell's done it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He earned this role as our leader and the respect, certainly, that goes along with it. But more than that, he's a rare example of what a senator ought to be. So thank you, Senator McConnell, for your example. Thank you for your mentorship and for your
I've
friendship.
spoken with the president already today about Texas, and I'm certainly hopeful. I think, as probably you know, Martha, I've made no secret of the fact that I hope the president will endorse John Cornyn. He is an incredibly effective senator for the state of Texas, a strong conservative voice here in the United States Senate, and represents by far our very best hope of making sure that Texas stays red in November in that Senate election. And so we'll see. Ultimately, the president, he makes his own decisions, but I've certainly weighed in many times, I should say, in support of Senator Cornyn, and I believe he is not only going to win the primary, but the general election in November.
Yeah, I was just watching Matt Whitlock, who used to do the Republican Senate committee. He said he believes that an endorsement for Cornyn is coming from the president. You said you just spoke with him. Is it coming shortly, that endorsement from the president?
Well, I'm not going to characterize the conversations I've had with the president, but I think it's fair to say that he's paying a lot of attention, and he knows full well, Megan, how important it is that we hold Texas in Republican column, Republican hands, and so I expect you'll be hearing from him before too long, and I'm not certainly going to get ahead of that, but I'm just very hopeful that the endorsement will be for John Cornyn.
It is simply and purely shocking. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about his voters. Any decent person that gets booed by their voters, any decent person that all of a sudden gets rebuked by the very people that gave them political power would stop and say, maybe I'm heading in the wrong direction, and they'd back off. Instead, John Cornyn gets in front of the entire Texas Republican convention and gets booed. And then he goes back to D.C. and says, I'm going to show those people. I'm going to show the deplorables. I'm in charge, not you. I'm the senator, not you. I'm in charge. I have never, in my 10 years of doing this, seen such an intentional, brazen, and defiant mode of action as what I have just seen from John Cornyn. I'm not saying it's the worst bill I've ever seen. That's not true. I'm not saying that it's the worst vote I've ever seen. That's not the point. The point I'm making is I have never seen in my 10 years of doing this someone so openly rebuked by their voters and then so quickly turning 180 degrees around and saying, I don't care. I've never seen it. Usually when you show up to a town hall and you confront them, they say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to change my vote. Cornyn doesn't like you. And he jokes about it, actually. Cornyn hates you. He knows he'll still get money from his corporate donors. He knows that. Instead of being allied with his voters and be like, maybe there's something I could learn here, he pokes him in the eye and says, no. I'm the senator. You're the serf. You're not a citizen. I'm in charge.
Hola.
Mi español no es el mejor.
No te preocupes, alcalde. Si su hijo o hija está cumpliendo 3 o 4 años en el 2026, usted puede registrarlos gratis en el programa Kinder 3 o Prekinder de la ciudad de Nueva York. pero debe registrarse el 27 de febrero, que es la fecha límite. Cualquier padre de la familia de la ciudad de Nueva York, sin importar su ocupación, ingreso o estatus migratorio, es elegible para registrar
Did
a
they
sus
teach you
hijos.
in Sunday school that Jesus Christ himself was a radical feminist? God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
We should treat our southern border like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front.
I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6, which honestly, Representative Hefner surprised me too. Surprised me too, because I am not well versed in this issue area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician. A lot worse than a scientist.
Be your shield in the fiercest battle. I'll defend you from all these arrows, and the sword I wield will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Royce White is speaking truth to power.
We will not give up a single right guaranteed under the Constitution.
You know I'm always going to talk about the real things. Okay. Free the Uyghurs.
If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you.
Let me be your shield, let me be your shield.
What's wrong in this country is our sense of American citizenship is lost. It's lost in convenience.
Let me be your shield, let me be your
Convenience will be the death of freedom. This is my show. And on my show, I control the conversation. Welcome back to the Royce White Show. I'm your host, Royce White, here in the belly of the beast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You're watching Real America's Voice, headquarters of the Ultra MAGA and America First movement. Later on in the hour, we will be kicking to President Donald J. Trump as he addresses the Shield of the Americas press conference. So as soon as the president is ready, we'll be throwing over to him. We weren't on last weekend. I was able to join the great all-star Real America's Voice cast, Jack Posobiec, great Steve Bannon, Stephen Gruber, and a bunch of others that were on that day as we covered the first few days, first few gamuts of this war in Iran. And we're glad to be back with you this morning. I hope you're having a good morning. I hope you're headed for a great weekend. We are here in Minnesota. I'm on the campaign trail once again, trying to convince the Minnesota Nice Republicans the time for nicety is over, and there is a strong correlation between what's happening here in Minnesota and what's happened all across the country, especially what's happening now. My thoughts and prayers are with the 6 men and women who lost their lives in the drone attack there in Kuwait, our servicemen and women. And our thoughts and prayers are with their families. War is difficult, and we all know that. And as it pertains to the war, I got to talk about the war. I mean, how could I not? And we're going to, next weekend, we'll see how things go. I mean, every day is a new adventure to an extent, especially right now in our country. But I do think, and I was on the campaign trail here in Minnesota with the great Mike Lindell this past week. And what an honor, the last couple of weeks, actually, what an honor. Mike Lindell, a real American hero. It troubles me to see people say, I love Mike Lindell, but he can't win. You better sure as hell pray that Mike Lindell can win. Because if we don't start putting up real American heroes who have sacrificed a lot for us to have important things like secure elections, then this country is lost. There's no path forward to victory for a country that won't put up its heroes to represent them in the government, especially when you have a hero who you can measure the sacrifice from. Some people tell you they'll sacrifice and you won't know until it's actually time to throw down. Mike Lindell's already thrown down. He's thrown down multiple times, and Minnesota would be blessed to have a man with such a good heart who's willing to sacrifice so much when he doesn't have to. In fact, that should be one of the only prerequisites of leadership. I hope Minnesota sees the light in this election cycle. But it's a microcosm of everything happening right now. And I've always tried to be the voice of reason. I think people who watch the show are starting to realize the mainstream media calls me a conspiracy theorist, and they avoid me like the Black Plague because I am a voice of reason. And I'm very meticulous and somewhat pragmatic, not in a milquetoast, moderate, lukewarm kind of way, not, pragmatic like there is no real answer. No, I'm pragmatic in that I can call the balls and strikes. And if it's not time to call the balls and strikes for whatever reason, because we don't have enough information, then I'll tell you that as well. And that's where I'm going to start here today about this war in Iran. I'm going to start on the other side of the break. I'm glad you're back with us this Saturday morning. I appreciate your viewership and listenership today and in the future, as always. Minnesota, the epicenter of American politics once again. It's providential. And I'm honored to be here in the belly of the beast and to be able to be a voice for the MAGA and America First movement. Let's continue to say the two together, because I see a split happening here on the horizon, and we better hope that we can stop that from occurring. If we don't, we know who our enemies are. And that's why I always bring back the late and prophetic Charlie Kirk when I get the chance, a genuine Christian martyr. And I find myself often asking, what would Charlie say if he were still alive in times like this? And I'm going to try and channel some of that Charlie Kirk energy on the other side of the break here this morning. Again, you're watching The Royce White Show. I'm here in the belly of the beast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll be right back in a moment. Stay tuned.
This is Fubo. It's a better way to watch ESPN and other top sports networks. Plus, get coverage of your local teams all year long. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
President Trump delivered on his promise to pardon January 6 defendants, but there are still 12 whose fights are far from over. Even though they've had their sentences commuted, they still cannot vote, possess firearms, receive military pensions and retirement benefits, obtain health care coverage, or secure employment. Stand in the Gap is renewing our Justice Restoration Fund to advocate for full pardons for these patriots. Please visit j6support.com or scan the QR code to support our fight for justice. Scan the QR code or visit j6support.com to make a tax-deductible donation to our Justice Restoration Fund today.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it. We bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that. It's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Welcome back to the Royce White Show. I am your host, Royce White. I'm here in the belly of the beast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You're watching Real America's Voice, headquarters of the Ultra MAGA and America First movement. Good morning. Again, like I said earlier, we're going to be kicking to President Donald J. Trump, who will be addressing the country at the Shield of the Americas press conference. I think they're having a press conference. Kristi Noem being moved over to help with the Shield of the Americas initiative. And, you know, the other important news and what has and will probably continue to dominate the headlines, 2 things. One, this runoff there in Texas, and we haven't been with you since the election in Texas, and now what is going to be a runoff between Rhino extraordinaire John Cornyn and the great Ken Paxton, Ultra MAGA Ken Paxton. And I don't have to tell this Real America's Voice audience where we fall on that referendum and choice. It's pretty much already out there in the open for most of us. If not, we wholeheartedly support the great Ken Paxton on this show. And we would hope that the president endorses him. And we would hope that he doesn't drop out for any reason whatsoever. There are a lot of people who are online and they're saying, oh, the MAGA movement is dead. Royce, why do you still keep the box of cereal on your show? Why do you still wear the hat? It's America first, America only. Really? I mean, of course, it's America first. I'm not quite sure what America only really means yet. We'll find out. And we may find out sooner than later. And we may find out in a way that's really ugly. And I do feel there is an ugliness to the America only, not in principle, but more so in application. And I've said this on my show this week, which we've gone to a live stream, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's on Rumble, X. You can find it on my social media. I've been sharing it and reposting a lot. We're doing a new show, a new drive time daily call-in show called The White House. And I said on the show last week, I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care about my own opinions or views, agreements or disagreements with the president or any of the other leaders in the MAGA movement. I'm not joining hands with Satanists. I'm not joining hands with communists under any circumstances. This isn't World War II. And I got a lot of flack for some of my World War II comments during the last election cycle, some of which may have cost me an endorsement from the president themselves in some people's view of things. Not quite sure. Doesn't quite much matter. To be quite honest. I mean, the bottom line is the truth is the truth. And if people can't handle it, it's an indictment of the people. And it can be an impediment for the movement and the agenda and the future of this nation. Saving this republic, keeping this republic. And this is one of those razor's edge moments in our history, in human history. Under no circumstances am I going to join hands with Satanists and communists. Under no circumstances. And when I mean no circumstances, I mean zero circumstance. There are no circumstances under which I'm going to join hands with Satanists and communists. President Trump, divine appointment, touched by God, saved in this moment, in this nation's darkest hour. In this nation's darkest moments, President Trump was saved from an assassination that would have almost surely broken the country from a government standpoint, because we would have gotten Kamala Harris. There's no way Nikki Haley would have beaten her in a general election. but also in a real kinetic sort of civil war, quasi-civil war, skirmish type of way as well. Abandon the MAGA movement, abandon President Trump. No, too much. Everybody's got to calm down. We got to thread a needle here. We got to ride the wave. Yeah, the MAGA movement is on the ropes, but it's always been on the ropes. It was on the ropes when it started. We got to channel some Muhammad Ali here. We have to find some stability, some comfort on the ropes. The ropes can be an advantage. Let your enemies reveal themselves. Let your enemies show you their weaknesses. That was the brilliance and the mastery of the rope-a-dope. George Foreman, much bigger, stronger opponent. They thought he was going to kill Muhammad Ali in there in the ring. They thought his power was insurmountable. And by sheer will, but also strategy, Muhammad Ali saw something in George Foreman that nobody else could see. He saw a point where George Foreman's energy would run out, his resolve would run dry, and he was going to wait for that moment and capitalize on that moment just at the perfect time and defeat all the odds. God, we pray that President Trump is doing the same. Now, a lot of people say Muhammad Ali paid a huge price for that strategy, so much so that at the end of his life, he was almost unrecognizable as the champion we once knew him as. And maybe that's our fate. Maybe the people who are alive right now weather the storm, are forced to weather the storm in a way where you don't recognize a lot of us anymore when it's all said and done, when victory has been achieved, when the history books write that President Trump and the MAGA movement and the America First movement saved the country, saved the world. Or maybe the complete opposite happens. Maybe we are lost in the eternal house of history like so many other great civilizations, nations, countries, empires, kingdoms before us. This isn't that moment per se. I mean, all that's really happened is we've gotten involved in another kinetic conflict with the country who gives us a much different proposition than some of these other conflicts that we've been in, vis-a-vis Afghanistan, Iraq. You can go back to Kuwait and Desert Storm, whichever one you pick from the Middle East theater. This Iranian regime presents a different problem than maybe any other one we faced. If nothing else, the urgency, the position that we've pressed some of our national mortal enemies into, if you want to consider North Korea, China, Russia, and Iran all part of one alliance, then we're certainly in a different position because they view themselves differently than our enemies have viewed themselves in the past. But China hasn't popped off yet. Russia popped off first. And, I'm not saying that they shot first because that's an incredible misinterpretation of the geopolitical situation that unfolded there in the Bloodlands. I'm not saying Russia shot first, but it popped off there between Russia and Ukraine a while back. So that war has been going on. And Iran and the rest of the Middle East and the Muslim Brotherhood and a lot of the Muslims have no qualms about seeing the destruction of this country and the death to our people. And they would not hesitate to kill our people. And we must always remember that we are in an asymmetrical war with our enemies while we try and save this country. That puts us on a tightrope. Before we came back from the break, I said I should come out and even, venture into this topic with what I appear to be an even hand, or what I see to be an even hand, what would appear to be an even hand, hopefully. I should just say, hey, I'm going to attempt to walk a tightrope here. If I fall off, pray for my soul, right? And that's where we are. And we've lost that tightrope ability. We've created tightropes, and we've lost the tightrope ability. We have to continue to pray that President Trump will thread this needle. And that's going to involve the SAVE Act. That's going to involve now navigating this war in a timely and efficient fashion. It's also going to call on us as the American people to be a true voice in this political process and communicate that to the president, his administration, and the rest of the country and the rest of the world. Who do we want to be as a people? And there you see President Trump, I believe. Is that right there in the studio? Can you guys tell me? It's kind of a small little box on my screen. I can't see. President Trump currently greeting people there at this conference, summit, press conference that's coming. It's going to address about the Shield of Americas. But I think it's a false start for people to be abandoning the ship. And the alternative is obvious. I showed you in the beginning, James Tellerico, who's now going to invoke Christ, use the cloth of Christ and misread the scripture to gain favor there in Texas or with the Southern constituency that heavily favors the Bible. He's going to twist and manipulate the scripture. That's where we're headed. The AOCs, the Mom Donnies, the James Tellericos, this is the future front line of the color revolution. And it's happening right now. It's not weeks or months away. It's happening right now. It's unfolding right now. And in fairness to all of the critics, we do have to stay vigilant, cognizant of our priorities. And I'll say this because at any moment we're going to be kicking to President Trump. We do have to stay cognizant. Has the president begun yet? No, he's still greeting people. You guys let me know as soon as he starts. Okay. Well, we're going to let you know as soon as the president begins his address. It may be momentarily. We're in the belly of the beast. We're headed for a break, and I'll see you on the other side. And if not, have a great weekend, and we wish the president...
Mama, look. It's just like our new house.
Warranty! I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Clogged AC coils? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? Ta-da! If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age.
A warranty is smart.
Oh, a happy family.
Is that us?
Too much. American Home Shield. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
Don't you hate that dirty old hose? It kinks, splits, and it always leaks. And it's way too heavy to carry around. It's time to get the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead. Just turn on the water and watch it grow to a full-size hose. It stretches and expands like a rubber band. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the new Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees. Just connect to the spigot and watch it pivot. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking back to a pocket-size hose. And it makes it easy to carry and put away. Copperhead. It's the hose that grows and pivots, flexes, and sprays. It puts itself away for another day. The Pocket Hose is so unique and so innovative, it was awarded over 100 patents. Call or go online now to get the super light 25-foot Pocket Hose Copperhead today for only $39.99. But wait, order right now and you'll receive an instant $10 discount. So it's only $29.99. And it gets better. Order right now and get our copper spray nozzle with our exclusive thumb drive free. Simply use your thumb to turn it on or off. And with 10 unique patterns, you'll have a setting for every job. A $30 value. Yours free with every 50-foot Copperhead. Plus, Copperhead comes with a full 10-year warranty. It's that durable. That means you can order right now with total confidence. But this special offer is not available in stores or on Amazon. So order right here, right now. And with rising costs, this may be your last chance at this low price. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-957-6191 or visit getcopperhead.com. So call 1-800-957-6191 or visit getcopperhead.com. Order now.
Welcome back to the Royce White Show. I'm your host, Royce White, here in the belly of the beast, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you're watching Real America's Voice. This is the headquarters of the Ultra MAG and America First movement. Great to have you back with us this Saturday morning. We appreciate your viewership and listenership today and in the future. Any moment, we could be kicking to President Donald J. Trump, who will be addressing the Shield for the Americas press conference. And like I was saying before the break, anybody who's talking about abandoning ship, you got to exercise some temperance. But that door swings in both directions. And I've never been shy about my opposition to the neoconservative wing of the party, the John Cornyn's, the John Thunes, the Mitch McConnells, who always seem to be aligned on certain issues, mostly their opposition of President Trump, but also their interpretation of right foreign policy. And I want to say here today, there is a Christian idea, there is Christian scripture that I say would best justify an America First policy approach. In the 4th and 5th century, St. Augustine famously wrote The City of God. And in it, I believe he says, a brief and true definition of virtue is rightly ordered love. This would later come to be known as ordo amoris, or ordo caritatis, the order of love, the order of charity. It says there is a rightful order of charity. There is a rightful orientation of charity, the proper order of love and charity, the proper orientation of faith and family and charity is that which is most local to us. God, then yourself, then your immediate family, your loved ones, your parents, your spouse, your children, then your immediate community, and then anything else after that. That's the proper Christian order of charity, faith, and family. Ordo amoris, ordo caritatis. Order of love, order of charity. The great St. Augustine, City of God. And we're going to be forced now to remember all of these ancient traditions that we say we are defending when we say we're defending the history and heritage or culture of Western civilization. These are some of the ideas that helped build such a great nation in the first place. And we're going to have to remember them as we try to rebuild this nation. We can love Israel. We can love the Jews. We can also prioritize America. And to find that balance is no easy feat. It's proven to be no easy feat for President Trump. It's proven to be no easy feat for the MAG and America First movement and for the American people. A dividing line, something that I called out long ago, and so did Charlie Kirk. The question is, with all of our criticism and opposition of, and here we have the great President Trump, 45th President of the United States, to address the Shield of the Americas. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you next weekend.
First term. And now we're using it. Unfortunately, we have to. But you're seeing how great it is. There's no military like it on earth, not even close. and we're doing very well in Iran. You see the result, and it's been amazing. We've knocked out 42 Navy ships, and we're doing very well in Iran. You see the result, and it's been amazing. We've knocked out 42 Navy ships, some of them very large, in 3 days. That was the end of the Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out their communications, and all telecommunications is gone. I don't know how they communicate, but I guess they will figure something out. It's not working out too well. And they're bad people. They're just bad people. When you look at October 7th and beyond October 7th, look at all the killing that they've done over the years, for 47 years. And this had to be done. They were very close to a nuclear weapon. They would have had one if we didn't do our B-2 hit, Midnight Hammer. They would have had it 8 months ago. They would have had a nuclear weapon, and, you know, they're crazy, and they would have used it. So we did the world a favor. And they said, well, how are you doing on a scale of 0 to 10? How are you doing with the attack? And I said, about a 15, I would say, with 10 being the best. But it's something that had to be done, and we're doing it well. And I want to thank everybody involved. I'll be going right after this. I'll be leaving for Dover, very sad situation, to greet the families of the heroes coming home from Iran, coming home in a different manner than they thought they'd be coming home. But they're great heroes in our country, and we're going to keep it that way. There's always, when it comes to war, there's always that. But we're going to keep it to a minimum, I think, Pete, and going to be something, a service that we're really providing, not for the Middle East, but for the world. These were sick people, very sick people. This morning, I'm honored to welcome distinguished heads of state from across the Western Hemisphere for the first Shield of the Americas Summit. And it's something very, very special. Marco's been working on it very hard, so have a lot of other people, because it's a very important place for us. It's nice to be home. It's very, very important. You know, we go all over the world, 9,000 miles away, 12,000 miles away. I said, how long is this flight? Sir, this flight is 19 hours. I said, oh, that's great. I said, now I have flights that last for 2 hours. I like that better. Much better. But on this historic day, we come together to announce a brand new military coalition to eradicate the criminal cartels plaguing our region. And you have a lot of it. One of the things when we were talking backstage, you were telling me the crime, the cartels, and we're knocking the hell out of them where we can. We're going to go heavier. You saw what we were doing with the boats coming in. The boats, there's not a lot of people coming in by boats anymore. We knocked down drugs coming in by sea. Drugs coming in through water is down 96%. We're trying to find out who the other 4% are, because I think they're the bravest people in the world. Either that or they don't watch television, right? They're either very brave or they're not watching. But we're calling this military partnership the America's Counter Cartel Coalition. And that's what you need. You have cartels. They seem to grow in this region unbelievably rapidly. It has to do with drugs largely. Earlier this week here in Miami, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's right here. Pete, you are fantastic, doing a great job. We're proud of you. And representatives of 17 different nations formally entered this new alliance. The heart of our agreement is a commitment to using lethal military force to destroy the sinister cartels and terrorist networks once and for all. We'll get rid of them. We need your help. You have to just tell us where they are. We have amazing weaponry, as you probably noticed over the last short period of time. But I want to thank members of the coalition, most of whom are friends of mine. Few of them I just met, but most of whom are friends, many of whom I endorsed And they took that endorsement and they went on to win big. I haven't had a bad endorsement yet, right? He says, yes. He was happy. He was a couple of points down and went up like a rocket ship, right, in Argentina. But the president of Argentina is here, Javier Milei. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. President of El Salvador, another friend, Nayib Bukele. You know, he is a man who we've gotten very close to. I saw him as a young man my first time. You were young and handsome. Now you're older and handsome. You're older and handsome. But he runs a good operation. That's all I care about, right? When I first saw him, I said, he's too young. And then I saw the job he did. I said, well, I guess he's not too young, because I was young and did well. But you've been a great president, and we appreciate the relationship very much. President of Paraguay, Santiago Peña, thank you very much. Thank you very much. President of Ecuador, Danielle Noboa. Danielle, thank you. Thank you, Danielle. President of Panama, I love that canal. Jose, I think he made the greatest deal in history. He bought it for $1. One of our brilliant presidents. I can't sleep over that deal. They gave it to him for $1. Jose Raul Molino, whereas, you know, you made one of the greatest real estate deals in history. Jimmy Carter, one of our great presidents. President of Honduras, Tito Esfora. Thank you, Tito. Thank you very much. Great to see you the other day. President of Guyana, Irfan Ali. Thank you. President of Bolivia, Rodrigo Paz. Thank you very much. Great people. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And I have to be very careful with this because, you know, your first name is very similar to a first name that we have, but fortunately it's pronounced different. It's Kamala. As opposed to Kamala. I like Kamala better in many ways. And I just want to say thank you very much, but I had to be careful with that first name. I didn't want to get it mixed up because it would ruin your reputation completely. Right? I said, is this the same pronunciation? No, sir, it's a little different. It's Cam, right? Cam, as opposed to Cam. Well, we don't like Cam. President of Costa Rica, Rodrigo Chavez, as well as the President-elect of Costa Rica, Laura Fernandez Delgado. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And the President of the Dominican Republic, Luis Abinader. And so many of my friends are in the Dominican, including the Sugar King, right? He is indeed the Sugar King. He got a lot of sugar. I don't know if that's good or bad, but he's got a lot of it, right? But we're grateful to be joined as well by the President-elect of Chile, Jose Cast. Congratulations. It's an endorsement. Gave you a little endorsement. I love when I give endorsements and people win. But you know what? They don't lose. You know, I don't know. I guess it would be illegal. Could you imagine if I could say they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on a campaign? They're losing. And they beg me for an endorsement. I give them an endorsement. They win by 30 points. And I get nothing. If I could sell that, is there a way? Do we have any of our legal people here? Marco's close enough. Is there a way I could get paid for that, Marco? I'd make a lot. They spend millions of dollars. And I give it for nothing. I could, even if I put it into the Treasury of the United States, it would be pretty good, right, Marco? But Marco's saying this is not a good idea. No, but it's an honor to do it. It's an honor to have that power where I can endorse somebody. And even in foreign countries, here it was, we had one in this week, 124-0 with endorsements. And so that's good. But now I'm doing foreign countries all of a sudden to say, sir, would you endorse me? And it's an honor. If I like you, I only do it if I think you're good. You know, if I think you're not good, I've turned down many more than I've accepted, believe me. I want to thank Secretary of State Marco Rubio for his leadership in organizing this really important summit. He's fantastic. He's a fantastic Secretary of State. And thus far, look, we've had the most incredible year of any president, I think, I ended 8 wars. We're not going to go into it too much today, but what we've done is incredible. And we're going to be doing some incredible things together, because I look at our region, if I can call it that, as being very important. It's been abandoned by the United States for so many years. They went so far away. They went to these faraway places where they weren't even wanted. And a lot of stupid people, really stupid people. But Marco is going to go down, I think, as the best Secretary of State in history. That's my opinion. Now, I'm a little prejudiced because I like him too. But I think he's on his way. So you've done 25%. You got 75%. He's got 3 years left. So he's got 25% under your belt. So far, you're leading. You're very leading by just about a smidge over a couple of pretty great ones. We've had a couple of pretty great ones, right? But I think he's going to do that. And I think Pete's right there, too. If Pete keeps going, he's going to be something, too. At what he does. All of the nations in this room share the same priorities: security, prosperity, free commerce, and the rule of law. And you want the rule of law. Sometimes your communities don't let you have it because you got some rough communities, right? That's why together we're also forming the Shield of Americas, a new organization to advance these shared priorities in our hemisphere. And we're pleased to be joined as well by Secretaries Pete Hegseth, Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. Oh, it has to be a big deal if you're here. Well, he controls the purse strings of the country. He goes on television and he just soothes everybody. He did it yesterday. The prices were going. He got on. He's a soothing person. He's actually a killer, but I don't want to say that. No, he's a soothing person. He goes on television. Right, Pete? I think nobody better. So we could use him for war every once in a while, soothe. Although we don't really want that kind of a personality for war. We want your personality for war. You're just perfect. Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. Chris Wright. Kristi Noem. Along with U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, who you all know and you deal with. You deal very successfully. I ask Jamieson all the time, can you get more? Can you get more? He's the king of tariffs, right? But he's very gentle. We want to be very gentle with our friends, right, Jamieson? Deputy Secretary of State Chris Lando. Chris, where is Chris? I haven't seen Chris. He's fantastic. He was an incredible student. He went to the best schools, and he was #1 in his class at all times. And Marco saw that and saw the talent he's got, and she said, that's the guy I want as a deputy, and I heard you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. Stephen is, I don't have to tell you anything about Stephen. Everyone knows. There's nothing I can say. He's fantastic, that's all I can say. And Senator Bernie Moreno, who's a credible friend of mine, and he ran a great race. He was not given much of a chance. He was running against a person who was there for a long time and was sort of considered a shoo-in, right, Bernie? And we knocked him out. He's trying to make a comeback, but we took him out. And Bernie's done a great job. For decades, leaders in this region have allowed large swaths of territory in the Western Hemisphere to come under the direct control, and transnational gangs have taken over and they've run areas of your country. We're not going to let that happen. We'll help you. And bloodthirsty cartels that impose their will through murder, torture, extortion, drug trafficking, bribery, and terror. And some of you are in danger. I mean, you're actually in danger. Hard to believe. But we're working with you to do whatever we have to do. We'll use missiles. If you want us to use a missile, they're extremely accurate. Boom, right into the living room. And that's the end of that cartel person. But we'll do whatever you need if you want. A lot of countries don't want to do that. They say, oh, sure, I'd rather not have that. I'd rather not have that. I believe they can be spoken to. I don't think so. Many of them don't want, and that's okay too. You're going to do you. But if you need help, you're going to let us know, okay? Many of the cartels have developed sophisticated military operations, highly sophisticated. In some cases, they say they're more powerful than the military in the country. Can't have that. These brutal criminal organizations pose an unacceptable threat to national security, and they provide a dangerous gateway for foreign adversaries in our region. And we don't want them near our country either. We don't want them to come in. They're cancer, you know. They're cancer, and we don't want it spreading. We have a very strong border. You know, we have a border now where for 9 months, 0 people have been able to come through. It's hard to believe, actually, because we went from 25 million people coming in over the Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst presidents in history of the world. He was the worst president in the history of our country. We've had some pretty bad ones. Recently, we've had some pretty bad ones, but he's the worst. But he would go down as one of the worst in the world. I'm going to up his category now. It's horrible what he did. And what he didn't do was probably worse than what he did. Every leader here today is united in the conviction that we cannot and will not tolerate the lawlessness in our hemisphere any longer. The only way to defeat these enemies is by unleashing the power of our militaries. We have to use our military. You have to use your military. You can't fight these people with, and you have great police. You have some great police, but they threaten your police. They scare your police. You're going to use your military. In many cases, our forces have already been working closely with yours, and the United States looks forward to deepening and expanding that cooperation in the months ahead. And it's so good that we got to know so many of you. I mean, we're so many. And I'd love to get to your countries at some point. Marco loves going to your countries. He's always at one of these countries. He likes your countries the best, okay? You know, where are you? I'm in Chile. Oh, good. How's Chile doing? Good. He likes it. He feels very calm. We all like him, right? It helps. He's got a language. He's got a language advantage over me because I'm not learning a damn language. I don't have time. I was okay with languages, but I'm not going to spend time learning your language. That much I won't do. Just give me a good interpreter. Interpreter, very important. And I know if somebody's good. I may not speak the language, but I know I had an interpreter recently that wasn't good, talking to a very strong person from a different part of the world. And I could tell, even though I don't speak the language, I could tell the interpreter was not good. When you go, when I give a long, flowing, beautiful sentence, and in this case, it was a woman, and she gave it in about 1/4 the time. I said, well, their language may be efficient, but it's not that efficient. And I could also tell when I have great interpreters. Interpreters are very important. You know, you have a bad interpreter. You think you're doing well? Boy, did I do a good job talking to this one or that. Was I great when I spoke to Putin today? Was I great when I spoke to President? Was I great? But if the interpreter isn't speaking right, or is weak, or is ineffective, or is just not good, or not interpreting your words correctly. In one case, we had an interpreter who, when she disagreed with what we were saying, she actually changed it. We considered her a foreign minister, right? But no, the interpreter is, I talk about it all the time. Interpreters are really important. When you don't speak the language, they don't speak the language, people have no idea. People have no idea how valuable, and I'm on them all the time, people have no idea how valuable a good interpreter is. But over the last year, the world has witnessed the supreme power of the United States. We're the most powerful military country in the world. Again, I rebuilt it I spent so much time rebuilding it, over $1 trillion. And now we just had another budget. We may be going to $1.5 trillion. We're building a thing called a battleship, like in the old days, remember? We have a Secretary of the Navy, and he suggested, I've always said, why don't we have battleships anymore, shooting big bullets instead of, $3 million rockets? And they said, well, sir, we just don't have them. Nobody could give me the answer, but we're actually building 10 of them. And I said, you know, you remember the old ones from, you see Victory at Sea, remember Victory at Sea? And you'd see these ships going through those waves like the waves were nothing, although the waves are pretty powerful. They knock out a lot of territory, but you'd see these incredible, they're pieces of art. Beautiful, most beautiful, the big battleships of the 1940s, right? Power. I said, well, would we ever want to bring them back? Because we have some of them, they're museums and other things. And they said, sir, the new ship is 100 times more powerful than what we were looking at with those guns and French. Amazing, right? 100 times. I said, you sure it's not maybe 90 times? 100 times more powerful. And we're building 10 of them. Not to use them. We don't want to use them, but by having them, nobody's going to play games. So, you know, just good to have them. We don't want to use them. They'll say, oh, he's very militaristic. I'm the one that ended 8 wars. I'm the one that, and we have another one coming, I think. The easiest was that, and that was just, and you know, as you would understand this, the hatred between Putin and his counterpart is so great, okay? It's so great that, you know, Ukraine, Russia, you'd think there'd be a little bit of camaraderie, there's not. And the hatred is so great, it's very hard for them to get there. It's very, very hard to get there. So we'll see what happens, but we've been close a lot of times, and one or the other would back out. But we're losing, you know, they're losing. You know, it doesn't really affect us very much because we've got an ocean separating. I'm doing it as a favor to Europe, and I'm doing it as a favor to life, because they're losing 25,000 souls. Think of that every month. 25,000. Last month, 31,000, both sides, 31,000 people died, mostly soldiers. So I have an ability to get those things done, to bring people together, and I did great with so many. India, Pakistan, that was going to be a disaster. I was raging for a number of days. I did that through trade. I used tariffs and trade, and it was amazing. But we did amazing. One was 32 years, one was 34, and one was 37 years, and we got it done very quickly. And we'll get this one done too. But the hatred is hatred's an amazing thing. People do bad things, and people don't get things done when the hatred is too great. That's a lot of it. Just as we formed a coalition to eradicate ISIS in the Middle East, we must now do the same thing to eradicate the cartels at home. So we did eradicate ISIS. Now, during the 4 years, we had a rigged election. You probably read about it, probably heard something. So it gave me 4 years to contemplate and to stage my comeback. I staged big comeback. They say it was a comeback. I didn't think it was a comeback because I had the people on my side. So I didn't view it as a comeback, but they did everything possible during that 4 years. They're crooked politicians, dirty cops. They're dirty cops. They did everything possible to make it impossible for me to win. And I won in a landslide. But during that period of time, I learned a lot. And I learned how you people, and I saw it so badly, how you're suffering with what's happening with the crime in the region. And I said, if we ever come back, we're going to eradicate that crime. And I'm going to work with you. And if you want, we're going to do it. We can do it pretty easily. As part of our commitment to countering the cartel presence in our region, we must recognize the epicenter of cartel violence is Mexico. The Mexican cartels are fueling and orchestrating much of the bloodshed and chaos